The Chicago Bulls are once again in the spotlight after strong reports suggest the franchise could be involved in a three-team blockbuster deal alongside the Golden State Warriors and the Indiana Pacers. According to speculation, the Warriors are predicted to send forward Jonathan Kuminga, valued at nearly $45 million, to Chicago in a trade that could dramatically shift the balance of power across the NBA. Kuminga, just 22 years old, has been regarded as one of the league's brightest young prospects. Drafted by Golden State in 2021, he has shown flashes of elite potential, combining explosive athleticism with strong defensive versatility and a steadily improving offensive skill set. However, inconsistencies in playing time and Golden State's constant battle with salary cap limitations have opened the door for a potential move. For the Bulls, acquiring Kuminga would represent a bold step toward reshaping the roster. Since the Derrick Rose era, Chicago has struggled to establish itself as a true contender in the Eastern Conference. Despite the presence of stars such as DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Nikola Vucevic, the team has failed to break through in recent seasons. Kuminga's arrival could inject youth, energy, and long-term promise, signaling a clear shift in the organization's direction. The Indiana Pacers, projected as the third team in the deal, would likely play a facilitating role to help balance salaries and assets. While details remain unclear, Indiana could receive draft capital or rotation players in exchange for smoothing out the financial and roster mechanics of the trade. From Golden State's perspective, parting ways with Kuminga would be a strategic move rather than a simple talent downgrade. The Warriors, anchored for years by Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, are entering a new chapter. With aging stars and mounting salary pressures, the franchise must find ways to stay competitive while preparing for the future. Offloading Kuminga's deal could give them flexibility and bring back pieces better suited to Steve Kerr's current system. For Chicago, however, the potential impact would be immediate in terms of narrative. Landing a rising young star like Kuminga would not only energize fans but also serve as a strong statement of intent by the front office. After years of criticism for failing to build a sustainable contender, the Bulls could finally show that they are serious about investing in their future. It must be emphasized that the rumored trade has not yet been confirmed by any of the teams involved. Negotiations of this scale often face sudden shifts, and nothing is guaranteed until pen meets paper. Still, the very possibility has already ignited conversations across the league. Should the deal be finalized, the Bulls could gain a potential franchise-changing piece, while the Warriors and Pacers would realign their own strategies for the seasons ahead. In an NBA landscape where bold moves often define legacies, this rumored transaction could mark a turning point for all three organizations. If the rumored three-team trade involving Jonathan Kuminga to the Chicago Bulls does materialize, the move could have ripple effects far beyond the immediate rosters. Trades of this magnitude often shape future strategies, and in this case, the implications for the Bulls, Warriors, and Pacers are worth deeper examination. For the Chicago Bulls, the addition of Kuminga would represent much more than simply bringing in a new forward. It would symbolize a commitment to youth and athleticism, areas where Chicago has struggled in recent years. While DeRozan, LaVine, and Vucevic provide scoring and experience, the core has lacked defensive versatility and long-term growth potential. Kuminga could help fill that gap. His ability to guard multiple positions, run the floor, and finish above the rim aligns perfectly with the faster style of basketball that many modern teams embrace. Beyond the immediate roster fit, Kuminga could become the centerpiece of a future Bulls rebuild. If Chicago chooses to pivot away from its veteran-heavy lineup in the next 2 seasons, having a player of his caliber would allow the franchise to retool rather than start from scratch. Fans, who have grown increasingly frustrated with the team's lack of direction, might finally feel a sense of optimism about what comes next. On the Golden State side, moving Kuminga would be bittersweet. He has often been seen as the Warriors' bridge between the present and the future. However, financial constraints and the need for complementary pieces around Stephen Curry make flexibility a top priority. By letting go of Kuminga, Golden State could create room to pursue depth, shooting, or even defensive specialists to maximize Curry's remaining prime years. It would also send a clear message: the franchise is still focused on competing now, even if that means parting ways with a budding star. The Indiana Pacers, meanwhile, stand to benefit quietly but significantly. Acting as a facilitator in a major trade can bring valuable returns, often in the form of draft picks or role players who fit long-term plans. With Tyrese Halliburton already leading a promising young core, the Pacers may see this deal as a chance to accumulate assets without disrupting their primary foundation. From a league-wide perspective, the rumored trade highlights how quickly team dynamics can shift in today's NBA. Just a year ago, Kuminga was viewed as an untouchable piece for Golden State. Now, financial realities and roster needs have placed him in the center of trade chatter. For the Bulls, a team often criticized for being passive in the market, even the possibility of such a move indicates a new level of ambition. Still, risks exist. Kuminga, despite his potential, has not yet proven himself as a consistent star. If Chicago parts with significant assets only to see his development stall, the move could backfire. On the other hand, Golden State risks losing a future cornerstone who might thrive in a bigger role elsewhere. The Pacers, while less exposed, must ensure their return is meaningful enough to justify involvement. Ultimately, this rumor underscores the unpredictable nature of NBA roster building. Every franchise must balance short-term competitiveness with long-term vision, and sometimes bold decisions define eras. Whether this deal comes to life or fades as speculation, it has already reshaped conversations around three franchises. For Chicago, Golden State, and Indiana, the stakes could not be higher, and the basketball world will be watching closely in the days ahead.